Surfing is about storytelling. I mean, you can look around in this room and there's so many classic personalities, all of whom, if you give them enough time and maybe a couple of beverages, they will tell you the greatest yarn, the greatest stories ever. And that's something that has become so great about surf filmmaking. There's so many rich stories to tell, and nothing really does that better than the documentary. You get to look at rivalries, personalities, the light and funny side of surfing, surfing's dark side. All of those are sort of really well-rounded in this year's nominees for Best Documentary.
I think surfing is a great topic for documentaries, and there's so many niches in surfing that it's nice to show the different sides of surfing, and documentaries is that perfect way to do that. For me, a great documentary would be something that feels timeless and captures the history of our sport. Let's check out the nominees for Best Documentary.
Stoked and Broke, directed by Cyrus Sutton. Having spent years hauling loads of film gear behind corporately endorsed surf athletes to far-flung destinations in search of perfect waves to stir the collective lust of overworked surfers, Cyrus decided to make a website to hopefully appeal to this same demographic, but didn't realize how draining, satisfying, or insatiable appetites for online entertainment can be. So while soaking up his daily dose of vitamin D, Cyrus realized a documentary film was the perfect way to shamelessly self-promote his surf blog, while satisfying his need for the surf trip he couldn't afford. Keenly aware of his limited shredding ability, he asked Ryan if he'd add his marathon man's surf skills to his staycation safari epic. He agreed, and then began to prepare for their 8-day, 30-mile walk and roll through San Diego, California.
Going Vertical, directed by Robert Raymond.
Debate still rages as to who was responsible for the shortboard revolution. Was it the Americans led by Dick Brewer, or the Aussies, Bob McTavish?
It was basically a Brewer Hawaii thing. It was.
Everybody's made these contributions, some more than others. I think Dick Brewer's made more than most.
McTavish was the one who drove the shortboard revolution.
The shortboard revolution definitely started in Australia months before it happened in Hawaii or California.
Our thinking was so far advanced from where they were.
He didn't see what was happening here. He was in an information void.
I thought he was an idiot.
God Went Surfing with the Devil, directed by Alexander Klein.
They don't recognize pen. They don't recognize papers. They recognize sword, blood, and fire, and power, and strength. That's all. This is the Middle East. We are not in Switzerland.
All Hamas members, all the government, that if we will get our land, our prisoners, our refugees to come back to their homes, then we will daily sit with the Jews and kiss them. We have no problem. We do not hate them.
When are we going to get you surfing?
Maybe.
Think about it.
I'm ready. God willing.
Sea of Darkness, directed by Michael Oblowitz.
In the mid-70s, Bali was awash with heroin, hash, any drug you could name. Surfers in those days that would live off smuggling and, sustain their existence in Bali. When you're swallowing a pound of pure ether-wash cocaine, the major thing that goes through your mind is the obvious. Is my packaging going to work? If this bursts, I'm dead.
Idiosyncrasies, directed by Patrick Treves.
So I put the boat in at the public launch ramp in San Diego, rode my boat out the San Diego harbor.
That's what I think about surfing is it's like, you look at it like an art form, like dance or something, like there's tap dancing, there's break dancing, there's all these different forms of dance. It's like you can go into all these classic genres and stuff and trip out on them.
Growing up was basically my dad being an outlaw. All he's doing is trying to ride some waves at the harbor. It definitely was tough at times because of everything that was going on, and just for himself, it created a lot of trouble inside. I think he just wanted to go surfing and basically do his thing.
The West Siders, directed by Joshua Palmer.
Barney, Flea, Ratboy, and Vince Collier all live within the neatly woven womb of Garfield Park.
You're born into the West Side, and you're born around, the circles, and we're pretty gnarly back in the day, pretty violent, and it was scary growing up on the West Side because you'd see people you don't want to see when you're on your bike.
It's intimidating. Families cross the street, and kids are like covering eyes, and
you're like going through every street, going, oh, I wonder, oh yeah, go. It's almost like you're like scurrying to the lane.
How about a round of applause for all the nominees? A lot of fantastic, rich stories. You should see those films if you get a chance. Have some movie nights at your homes. But the winner is Sea of Darkness, directed by Michael Oblowitz.
I couldn't do this movie without Martin Daly. He opened the door for it. It was an incredible experience. When we were young kids in South Africa, we couldn't go to Indo because of apartheid. And so it was this mystical, magical place for me. And all the stories that we heard when we were young just came to life when I met Martin. I want to thank him. I want to thank my son, who shot a lot of it, and Mike Prickett, who shot a lot more. Great camera. My editor, Rob Taylor, is not here. I want to shout out to Marvin Foster and Andy Irons, who I filmed this year on the Sonny Garcia documentary. Amazing guys. I was very fortunate to work with them before they died, and I want to dedicate this to my mom and my brother in South Africa, who I surfed with my whole life. Thank you all. Martin.
I just want to say hello to my kids, Alexandra and Walker, that are watching, and thanks very much, Michael. It's been a pretty incredible ride, and if we've offended anybody, we're sorry.